And I think if you know if you look at it, the CHDA Taste of the Caribbean, that for me, it gives Caribbean chefs that are competitive and want to showcase their flavors an opportunity to then go up now into Miami and display what we have in the Caribbean, what is precious to us, what is amazing to us, and share that with the people, the patrons, you know, the people that would be a part of the competition. And then it also gives other chefs like for me, you know, 305, I got an understanding of some real authentic Jamaican food. Because to be honest, I've never been to Jamaica. So I would have never gotten that experience if it wasn't for 305. I got to taste food from Curacao, Trinidad. I mean, there was
and you're talking
cultures.
You're talking about the competition that you came to in Miami, right?
Yeah.
The taste of the Caribbean.
Taste of the Caribbean and the 305 event.
Yeah, I never. What is the 305 event? Because that's one's new to me.
Oh, the 305. That was an event where you do like you set up like Caribbean stalls.
Oh, okay.
So it was more of it was kind of they had it kind of it was a play on the carnival. So it was in a hall, and you had each country would have like a stall. And each stall, you would have the bartenders providing the beverages and the different cocktails from their island with their rums and spirits. And then you would have the chef giving you like
you mean this is in the competition, like on one of the days?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know about that one.
It's in the competition.
Right.
So it kind of it gives the cultures, because 305 is not really a competition. However, it still gives the patrons you know, the exposure to
like a taste
Caribbean
of
food.
each of the Caribbean countries that are there. And for the listeners that don't know, there's a competition. It's called the Taste of the Caribbean. It's basically set up for the team members from every country. Let's say all the countries in the Caribbean: Jamaica, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, all these St. Vincent's and all of these places. They send over their team to compete in Miami. And he's saying now there is a section of this event that they have something called 305, where all of the countries gets to display their food the way they want to display it and cook whatever their food they want. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely. So you said you had an experience, and that's when you had to try some Jamaican food.
Yep.
Right.
I got to try some Jamaican food, and then like for me, you know, the most fun part about the competition is mingling with other chefs and, you know, getting to understand their culture, getting to understand their story. Like how we are now is kind of like 305.
Right.
So the only thing that's missing is the festival events and the stalls and the food. But the same thing that we're doing now is what we did at the 305, you know. We would exchange pleasantries. We would show a little competitive banter. And, you know, we would understand, you know, why Jamaicans do this, why Trinidadians do that, why Bajans are like this. And I thought that was a great cultural exposure because, I mean, for many years, right, to be honest, we have chefs in the Caribbean, but we have never really linked up.
No.
So we have Jamaican chefs, Bajan, Guyana, Trinidad, you know, Suriname, we have Bahamas. But how regular have we had chefs that genuinely traveled to each Caribbean island, tasted the food, indulged in the culture, and have that cultural experience?
Exactly.
That is basically non-existent. You might have traveled here or there, but you not have really had that culinary journey to say, well, hey, we went to Jamaica, we spent a couple weeks there, we understand jerk and how you actually do jerk and not just put a lot of pepper on it and call it jerk. You know what I mean? So it's like, that is something that I find 305 give, you know, that experience and that exposure. I thought it was a really cool thing in terms of, you know, cultural experiences shared among the Caribbean nations. So big up the CHDA for that. That was a really good thing.
Yeah. So Bina, we're talking about that. I realized that you won. Yeah. So I realized that you won a gold medal in
no, it was actually silver.
Oh, silver medal. Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you could run through a little bit, you know, briefly, like what you made for that competition.
Okay, that was the Caribbean Chef of the Year. For that competition, I think, Damien Reid, you talked about him. You talked to him when he told you about sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So I took sauce to the competition, but then I took a few different elements and a few different flavor profiles with me that kind of switched it up a bit. So for my protein, I think I would have gotten red snapper. So I did a red snapper split pea and sweet potato ball. But what I did is I took the flavors of a roti, incorporated them into the ball, and had the snapper inside, and I breaded it and spiced it with some curry, and that was one element of the dish. I took what we call pudding, which is a sweet potato pudding in Barbados. I used plantain and sweet potato instead, and I made that as the pudding. For the pickle element, I would have used watermelon pickle salsa. So here our sauce usually goes with cucumber pickle. So you have cucumber, lemon juice, salt, pepper. The pepper will be Scotch bonnet. And then you would have, some parsley, some bell peppers, and that would have been the pickling agent that the pork sits in and marinates in. And instead of using the cucumber pickle, I did a watermelon pickle. So I took sauce, switched it up, mixed it up, and I took that up with me.
Right.
And I mean, it was my first ever time competing. Never competed before.
Never, ever in your life?
Never competed before. I competed in the local competition, and then we trained for that, and then competed in that. So that was the first ever food competition I entered was our local one. And then the second ever competition, which was the first international, was Taste of the Caribbean. And I think that was genuinely an amazing experience.
Wow.
To be able to represent my country, to be able to put my cuisine out there, and, to be able to be vulnerable, to let others judge my food, tell me what they think, tell me, what they feel, and then at the end to get a reward. I think that was a good kickback, to be honest.
So let me ask you, how did you get prepared for this competition? Being that it's your first, because I've entered a couple of competitions in my tenure in this culinary industry, and it can be frightening because when you're cooking for so long, it's hard for you to find a dish because you're always going to critique yourself. So let's say, for instance, you come up with a dish, you cook it, you like it, and then you say, you know what, I'm gonna use this. You go home, and then you come up with another dish, and now you're like, okay, you have a choice of 2 dishes. So how did you go through that process of elimination where you first of all, get yourself mentally ready? How did you get mentally prepared? And then how did you get physically prepared for this competition, being that it was your first?
Well, on the mental side, I gotta give you a little story to help you understand how this basically come from a joke conversation in a joking way into something serious. So I was on the cruise ship and I called home and I was talking to my fiance Janelle.
Right.
So I said, babe, when I come back, I feel like I can go up on the culinary team. And, it was just a wish because it's something that I always wanted to do. And as I said to her, when I come back, I want to do something different. So I feel like I can go up on the team. And, I was laughing and stuff, and she wasn't laughing. She was actually taking it serious, She was like, that's a good idea. So, it was like, oh, okay. So then I come back and, I saw one of the guys. After I came back, I got a job at a hotel. And then one of the guys that was on the team before, a youngster, he's a big dog now, Nicholas. I saw him, he came down to the hotel and we were talking and stuff. So he gave me the Instagram page and he told me, well, you can follow this and, all the details will be on here. So one day, I saw the guys had a meeting and, all these chefs is the paperwork and stuff. And I was like, yeah, so I missed the deadline?
Definitely.
So then I missed the deadline and I contacted, Henderson Butcher, which is the manager. And I said to him, I would like to enter the local competition. So he said to me, if I'm serious, I have to go to BHDR right now because today's the last. So then, I was like, oh shoot, how we can do this? And it so happened that it was my off day. So I ran, I got the papers, then I had to go to work to get the chef to sign it off. Then I took it to the BHDA. After I went in, you know, they gave me the full rundown in terms of the competition rules and stuff. Man, I come home sweating, hands shaking and trembling because it's like, whoa, it's serious now. So, you know, my fiance was like, babe, you know, if this is something that you want, this is something that you're gonna go after, you know, take your time, breathe out, process, do what you gotta do. Let me start to see how we can make this happen. So, you know, I made a few calls and asked some guys, well, hey guys, you know, when you guys were in the competition, what was it like? You know, what are they expecting? What are they gonna do? So I kind of did my little research before the competition, asked a few questions, and then, you know, you end up with a whole pile of research. So it's like, how am I gonna make this useful to me? So, I mean, man, let me tell you, I was all over the place. I had this dish, I had that dish, the next dish. Then, you know what's funny? I wake up on the morning of the competition, and I still didn't know what I was gonna go with. So, I went into the competition. I ain't gonna lie, I was all over the place. Mentally, I was all over the place. I struggled a bit because obviously it was my first competition. I, you know, had never been in something that, I mean, all the guys working around me were the top dog.
Right.
And these guys were organized. They were serious and they were focused. And I was looking at this guy and looking at that guy and, you know, a bit intimidated. So after the first day, I can't even remember what I cut. I think I have a picture of it. But I mean, man, what I did though, I made sure that I packed all the flavor possible. So I got a lot of points for flavor. The presentation wasn't all of that in the beginning, but hey, it got me to the second round of the competition. So for the second round of the competition, I think it was the first 4 people would go forward towards the culinary team to train. So the second round, I got so nervous that I don't know if you can see it. I cut off the top of my finger. And I was bleeding away.
Oh my God.
Man, I thought I was out. And then, Glenroy Allen, he is the assistant coach. Man, he came out, he said, listen to me. You cut yourself. No problem. It happens. What you gonna do? Get back in there and give it your all. Don't give up. And to be honest with you, right? Mm-hmm. That bit of motivation, that push. Because I felt like I'm competing with the big guys. No one cut themselves, everybody going forward. I cut myself, I killing time. I don't have time to do what I had to do. And he helped patch me up, put on a glove. I put on 2 gloves. I was working all the time. The blood ran over from the first glove into the second glove. So I literally was working with my blood, but I had it tied up.
Yeah.
So you know, like you feel like you have a balloon on your hand where you can feel all the fluids, but it was tied up, man. And I cracked and I pushed and I pushed. And after that, I got invited to train. And that is where the seriousness came. Because, you know, when you do the competition, I didn't have no structure, I didn't have no training. So that was more of a wow, get in there, get the flavors. Flavors is what put me up. Right. I got a bill on presentation. So that was the first step. Now for the Taste of the Caribbean, what I think was the most awesome thing was the training. It was hard, it was tough, it was grueling, but at the end of the day, it created structure. It created guidance and it created direction.
Right.
And I mean, that is what helped prepare me for Taste of the Caribbean, because without the training, I don't think that you can go to Miami and seriously compete.
PastryBeartv.